You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Folks, it's Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There are ladies, things that makes official. Welcome to the big show. As always, the Chris Voss Show, the family loves you. For 2,500 episodes in 17 years, we've been bringing the Chris Voss Show, 16 going on 17, of all the most amazing stories and minds on there. And we just keep bringing you more wonderful stories. You can go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, youtube.com/Chris Voss, facebook.com/Chris Voss, and LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. Today, we had an amazing young lady on the show with us today. Ramona Hammel joins us. She is an author of several books in a 4-book series we're going to talk about. The first book in the series is called Rate. It's out January 18th, 2023. We're going to talk about this series and the characters in the book and all that good stuff. Welcome to the show, Ramona. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Thank you. And give us any .coms. Where do you want people to find you on the interwebs?
It's RamonaDGSBooks.com.
There you go.
And that's my webpage. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So give us a 30,000 overview. What's inside the Rate book and its series?
Well, what it is, it's a family that moved from Canada back in the late 1890s, and it goes through the 1920s. And it just shows what life was like on the farm in the Midwest. It's a family of pretty much 3 generations, the grandparents, parents, and then the children. Just kind of an interesting story about how they came to Michigan and how they were successful people in Michigan and they did real well, and just how family life was out on the farm.
There you go. What years is this setting in again?
The books actually start in the 1893, and then they go to the 1920s. So very interesting time in history. A lot of things took place. A lot of things changed in the time. Just an exciting time of, how can I say, lots like trains, cars, just the way life changed for them, out in the country. And so it made travel easier. Telephone came into play. A lot of exciting things.
There you go. Wild stuff there. So what prompted you to write this story? Is it about any experience of maybe your heritage family or?
Yes, actually what it is, my mother, Donna Jean Stanky, she was the one who is the main author of the book. She thought it was important that her children would know what it was like for her family, because she was one that was very interested in history, and so are my brothers and sisters and I. And so she thought it was an interesting thing to gather this information and then preserve it for our family. And so what it really is, it's really based on my great-grandparents, grandparents, and my grandpa.
Wow. Well, that's nice. So would you say it's historical fiction? You maybe fill in some of the details, or is it more close to like a good memoir and a real biography?
No, there's a lot of historical facts in here because it dates back to, like I say, it tells about President McKinley. It tells about President Roosevelt. It also has a Spanish-American War, about how some of the people went off to that. So there is history there. And it really is a lot of history about the small town of Elsie in Michigan, and just how, like travel-wise, like I said, they were able to take the train like to Chicago or to Traverse City, things like that. Detroit was a big thing they used to do too. So it is, like I say, historical, but then it's also a lot of stories about my family.
Wow. That's got to be fun. And
Yeah,
so, you tell the story of that. Now, there's only 4 books in the series. Is that correct?
correct.
Hmm. Do you want to walk us through some of the other books then?
So the first book, Rate, starts out the night my grandfather was born.
Hmm.
It starts out that my grandma did not want to be pregnant. She never had wanted to be pregnant, but she had a
Wow.
little girl and she loved Blanche, but she vowed that she would never love this little boy, Ralph. Now, my
Yeah.
grandfather, he was excited to have a little boy because he now has someone to carry on the family name. He has someone to help with the farm. And also, he thinks this will help with his relationship with his father, Horatio. So that's where we get the book title Rate. Rate
Hmm.
is the nickname for Horatio, his father. And so now he starts calling his son, who
Oh.
is Ralph, calls him Rate. So that's
Oh,
the
so that's where
first
that
book.
name comes about.
Yes. And so then the second one is The Lad Called Rate, because what happens now? Now he's a little older and he gets into a little more trouble, and his mother still does not like him. She is upset that he's a boy. In fact, she
Wow.
dresses him as a little girl until he is
Wow.
3 years old. And his
Holy crap.
dad, Wilfred, finally says, "Hey, you got to start putting him in boys' clothes. This is ridiculous. He's climbing trees now. He's outside playing in the mud. He needs to be a little boy." And
Yeah.
so he's like, "Okay, I can understand that." And so that's what she does. But in the meantime, actually, his sister Blanche, who's 4 years older than he is,
Hmm.
she did not want a little brother. She wanted a sister.
Oh,
So she vows that she's not going to like him either.
this
And
poor kid,
so
man.
she, I know. So when you think about it, his grandparents too, they doted on Blanche. They love Blanche. They do favors for Blanche. And then here, this little boy who really doesn't even know what's going on, except that he was born in this family who loves little girls and not boys.
Wow.
So it shows just how he is getting along, trying to grow up. And the thing is, because he's a boy, now he's expected to start doing chores. Because back in that day, you didn't grow up without doing chores. And so he had to do chores, but it showed how he got punished more than his sister did, and how his sister would
Wow.
set him up so that he would get punished too.
Oh, wow. That's not good. Now, well, it builds
No,
resilience and backbone. That whole
yes,
everyone, everyone's
it
trying to
surely
beat you
did.
down. Yeah.
So yeah, so
It's
at a,
how
oh,
come
go
there's only
ahead.
4 books? How come there's only 4 books in the series? Shouldn't I mean, is it just kind of that encapsulating that era of your family?
Yes, because like I say, it shows as he's growing up, because it takes him through school age. The
Hmm.
lad called Ray kind of takes him to, well, because his sister. So kind of to back up here, his grandparents liked his sister so much that they were like, "Oh, she can't go to the uh, country school. She has to go to school in town because she will be able to get a better education." So she
Mm.
tells his parents that your daughter's going to go to school in town, but Ray, he doesn't have to go to school in town. He's just a boy. It doesn't matter. And then they also tell them that she has to have store bought clothes in order to go to school. She can't
Oh,
wear the
wow.
homemade clothes like her mother would have made her. So it's just kind of interesting how this family, like I say, they really just cater to her. And then what, but on the other hand, the mother, um, she does not like her mother in law. She is upset with her mother in law, Elmina, well, so Elmina is the mom. She's the one that she doesn't like Lovina. And because what she gets upset about too is her husband, no matter what, he backs his parents. If his parents say go left, he goes left. If they say go right. So, anyways, well, because like they said, move to this farm. So they moved to the farm. And then they said, okay, now your daughter has to go to school in town and live with us. So that's what happens. And she's like, why won't you stand up to your parents? But he just doesn't do
Wow.
that.
Sounds like you should have stood up to her more. I don't know. It's
Yes. Well, so then another interesting thing, when she came out, she would be the type, the mother Lavina, she would be like, "Oh, I don't like the way you have your furniture arranged. You need to
Wow.
rearrange it by the next time I come out here." So that's
Sounds like a
what
little mommy
Elmina
dearest
had to
going on
put up
there.
with.
Sounds like a little
Exactly.
mommy dearest going on there. Or that old 60s, 70s movie
Yes.
of I forget the gal
Mhm.
who's in it, but yeah. Yeah.
True.
Gotta love
Well,
maternal
even
narcissism.
right, and then the thing is Horatio, the grandpa to Rate, he, of course, is a successful businessman. He sells real estate. He sells cattle and horses and sheep. I mean, so he makes really good money. He caters to his wife. He gives his wife pretty much everything she wants. And so I think
Hmm.
that was part of why she had this air about her. She's like, okay, we're the wealthy people. We can do, my husband can afford to do this. In fact, he built her a really nice house with all the amenities back in the day. And then they even had in church, they had their name written on the pew, that it was the Setterington pew.
Hmm.
So, and then, like I say, by having Blanche come live with them, so now that left Ralph, or Rate, left him to do how many of the chores? Because he was the
Hmm.
one who had to like go get the wood and things like that.
Oh wow. Well, there you go. There
So
you go.
yeah,
What do you hope
and
people
then
come
so
away with?
eventually,
Oh, good.
oh, I was saying, and then so in the mischief maker, now I think what's happened, now he's realized that, okay, I'm not the apple of my parents' eyes. I'm not the apple of my grandparents' eyes. My sister Blanche is. She's the one they cater to. So he kind of starts making his own way in life. So he kind of starts realizing that, okay, to get along in life, I'm going to make it more fun. I'm going to be a little mischief maker. Like I'm going to put the frogs in the girls' pencil boxes at school. I'm going to do the spitballs in class and see if I get caught. Or when the boys go skinny dipping, he takes their clothes and puts them in knots. So then when they come out, they have to try to unknot their clothes. So he
Like
does
standing
things
there
like
nude.
that.
That's
I know,
hilarious.
so
That
well,
is
it's kind of
hilarious.
interesting because when you think about it, back in that day, yes, boys did not go swimming with girls. Girls weren't
Hmm.
allowed really to go swimming, and especially out in the country.
Hmm.
So it's just kind of interesting the other little things he does. Or he always tries to get his father too. Like the one time he pours water on his father and then runs. But of course, his father, being who he is, he's a man, he can outrun him. And then he
Yeah.
sets him on a fence and he paints his legs red with the paint that he was painting the fence with. And back then, of course, it's oil based paint. So you can imagine how hard it was for him to try to get this
Oh,
paint off.
geez. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you hope people get from the 4-book series?
I think what I'd like is just to show the community. Back then, you depended on other people. You didn't just do everything by yourself. Like it showed, what's nice is it really breaks it down what farming was like, how it didn't, even though maybe you had 40 acres or 80 acres, but you depended on another farmer because that farmer maybe had the machinery that you needed. You depended on all the people in the neighborhood to help with the barn raising. You
Hmm.
depended on, like, maybe this other man had the steer that you needed, the bull to impregnate the cows. And so, like I said, it just shows a lot of things back where we have gotten away from that now. We don't have that community effort like we did back then. Um,
Yeah.
so I'd like to see how it shows people that how different society was back then, but yet they got along. They worked well together. Um,
You kind of
and
had to,
just
right?
exactly.
To survive.
And then, or the other thing that it's interesting is the medical things back then. Like there were girls that got diphtheria and to show what they had to do for that. Or like how they wore what they called fetty bags. Fetty bags were chicken manure and turpentine that these kids
Yeah.
had to wear around their neck or rub on their chests in order to go to school. So can you imagine what the school smelled like
Oh
with all
God.
these kids coming to that? So yeah,
That must
or
have
like
smelled great.
there's a there's a time where Ralph gets a pitchfork through his foot, and what he had to do, they put salt pork. They would wrap the salt pork onto his foot to prevent an infection. And so there's other things like that that just show how far we've come with medical practices too.
Wow. Yeah, pretty interesting. And life in that time, it's a good indicator. Now, did your whole family work on this? Was it just you and the co-author, or how'd that work out?
So no, it was just my mom and I. Now my mom, well,
Mhm.
what was really neat. So as a child, there I have 6 brothers and sisters. Anyway, when we would go to my grandpa's house, my mom always she would take her pad of paper and she would just ask him what his life was as a child. And us kids loved it. And I think that's the thing too. A lot of these people nowadays, they maybe don't like it at first, but later on you go, gosh, I wish I would have asked my grandpa this. Gosh, I wish I would have asked my parents that. And so that's what my mom did. She did that for us. And so then what she would do, she wrote the story, but then I'm the one who helped her edit it and get it published. In fact, it's kind of a nice story, but she had tried to get it published on her own, but she was 90 years old when we finally got it published, the first book rate for her. And so I was able to present that to her on her birthday.
There you go. Well, that's really nice. You like you say, there's all sorts of ways people now are trying to preserve that, because once people are gone, they're gone. You can't ask them any questions. You can't be like, "Hey,
Exactly.
what happened to that one thing?" Right? And
Right.
sometimes the story of their life. A lot of times you don't hear what they may have experienced in their childhood and all that good stuff. So, now you can ask those questions and get to know what was going on there and all that good stuff. Was
Mhm.
this your first book that you ever wrote?
Um, yes.
Mm,
I mean, my mom has written other books too, but yes, this was the first one. And it's kind of interesting because my brothers and sisters kept saying, oh, after mother dies, we can get these books published. Well, I thought, why should we wait until after she's dead? Because now I could work with her. And because we did revise some of the stories in the books a little bit. Um,
mm,
just to make it either more interesting or going, ooh, that's probably not a good one to put in there, that kind of thing.
mm,
So that was nice. And then like I say, actually, because then too, the Forever a Farmer, that's where um, now Ralph has realized he loves that farming life because he went to school over in Ypsilanti and became an accountant, but decided he didn't like that and went back to the farm. And so that's one of the things too. When I look at it, farming has been in our blood for a long time. It's how many generations.
mm. There you go. Farming's really, it used to have to, have everyone on the farm would have to work and contribute to
Oh
stuff. It was
yeah.
really kind of a different time. I think it maybe built better character back then, and more people that learned to get along as opposed to not getting along.
Right. Well, another thing that's kind of nice about this book, so like I say, there's the medical issues, there's the historical facts, there's also prices of things. It's amazing. Like back in the day, it was 1 penny to send a letter,
Yeah.
or the time that Ralph wanted to buy a dog. The dog was $1.50. But now to him, that was a lot of money because
Oh yeah.
a penny. So he picked strawberries and got only 2 cents for a quart of strawberries. Can you imagine a quart of strawberries for 2 cents? That kind of
Yeah.
thing. So you look at how much he really had to work in order to get that dog because his
Yeah.
parents wouldn't help him.
Wow. That's some cold stuff there. So there,
Yeah,
there you,
it was. Well, because
there
the
you
thing
go.
is too, so here's Blanche. She gets music lessons. She gets to have birthday parties. Um, and he's like, okay, what do I get? And I do have to say, the one time she got, or like, this is another thing, presents. What do kids get today? Well, back then, for Christmas, you got maybe an orange or a banana, you got some nuts, and maybe a toy. You know what I'm saying? Can you
Wow.
imagine kids today if that's
Oh,
what they
wow.
got? So for
Nowadays
his
they get a
birthday,
PlayStation or
actually,
Xbox.
exactly. And then
Mm.
they'd even look at it like, gee, this is it. So yeah, they were thankful for what they got. So it's kind of interesting. So the one time for Blanche, her birthday, she loved oranges, and so she got a whole bag of oranges. So then Ralph is like, well, maybe for my birthday I can get bananas. Well, of course his sister's like, well, Dad won't do that for you. Who are you? Why would he do that for you? But his dad did get him a whole stalk of bananas for his birthday. So, I
Mm.
mean, once in a while, you see this little bit of glimmer that, okay, maybe they do like him, but like I say, for the most part, they did whatever the daughter wanted.
Wow. Well, that's so. I guess we need to read the books to find out how the son turned out with all that sort of quote unquote abuse going on. I guess.
True, true.
Hopefully he became a billionaire and he cut them all out of the will or something. I don't know.
Well, maybe not quite, but no. Well, because then it was fun
That's what
too.
I
So
would have
they had to
done.
move to, and then, okay, so the grandparents moved away. And so now Blanche can't live with the grandparents. So guess what happens? The
Well,
dad says, "Oh, we're moving to town so that Blanche can continue to go to school. Sorry about your luck, Ralph. Sorry about your friends, but we're moving
this,
to town for Blanche."
this poor kid can't
So
catch a
that's what I mean,
break.
this poor kid. And so he
Wow.
didn't. And so,
Mm.
but then, like I said, eventually he does get back to the farm and
Oh, there you
enjoys
go.
it. But there's even problems there that come
Wow,
up
man.
because the thing
I thought
was
my
the
childhood was
dad.
rough.
Oh, is it? Yeah. I know
I
when you
thought
think
my
about it.
childhood was rough.
So, right. So his dad, so there's Horatio and then Milford and then Ray. Well, Horatio and Milford butt heads. And
Hmm.
they actually, I'll just one little quick thing, but they end up not speaking to each other. And so that's what Ralph is trying to prevent. He doesn't want to have happen what happened with his dad and his grandpa. And so he's hoping to prevent that.
Mm. Well, that's an
And,
important
you know,
goal to have.
yeah, you just kind of, and how sad that his even so now he's like, okay, I have this, they don't like me that much, but yet now my dad and grandpa aren't talking. How do you fix that? But he was never able to fix it.
You just move away and become a billionaire and never talk to him again. And then when they ask for money, you tell them
Right.
to go fuck off. That's what I did. Anyway, no, I didn't. So
Yes.
there you go. Well, it's a wonderful story. It's a great way to do a family journey. Now, had your mother that co-wrote the books, had
Mhm.
she written before? She was good at it, I think maybe you implied.
Well, so what kind of had happened? She had, of course, met my dad at college, had the family. She actually had 8 kids, but anyway, but she went back to college,
Kid.
and when she went back to college, she loved English, and it was one of her professors that said, "You are really good at writing," and so he was the one that encouraged her
Wow.
to write. So yes, she has written other books. None of them were actually published, and
Hmm.
then she had a friend who was a librarian, and when she was writing these books, she would go to her too and say, "Well, what do you think about this? How do you think I should do this?" And so that's where she got some counseling on that, on how to write.
I think if you're an author, passing that down to your children is like
Hmm.
so important. Same thing with entrepreneurism, teaching children how
Yeah,
to be entrepreneurs and stuff. So important. And I'm glad I'm glad more people share that sort of thing. But yeah, it's really important because teaching that, we have a lot of people on the show who started out with their parents were entrepreneurs, and in doing
uh,
so, they pass that down to their children,
hmm,
and their children now have that power and stuff. So really important to have that experience and exposure. I think, really, in my mind.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Plus, they
so
get
that's where
their
we're
foot in the
really.
door.
Hmm.
Yeah, plus they get their foot in the door and can kind of learn
Right,
the business
right.
of doing the thing there. So yeah.
So yeah,
Honest
so
fun.
like I say, what's nice about this, it just really preserves a lot of history for that era. Like I said, very exciting era, excuse me, and it preserves it for my, future generations. Because now there's the grandkids and the great grandkids and that kind of thing, and so now they too can look back at this and see a little bit of family history and what it was like. So that's
Yeah,
been
like
fun.
that way when you're telling the stories about how you guys used to walk
Mhm.
in 10-foot deep snow back and forth
Exactly,
to
uphill,
school.
downhill,
No,
right?
we all do that, right? Well, it was all
Yep,
down uphill.
yep.
Yeah. They know. They're like, yeah, we read it in the book, eh?
That's right. Yeah,
There you go.
it was
There
for
you go.
real. But it's kind
Well,
of fun
Michigan
too.
Michigan
Um,
has some pretty cold winters for farming.
yes, yes. And there's stories, and that's what's nice about in the stories too. It tells about how the kids would go ice skating on the river. I mean,
Mm.
things like that they did, and just the different kind of ice skates they had, or um, or even horse and buggies. Uh, the way you had to bundle up, because it's cold. And then collecting the wood because, of course, you didn't have electricity then. Um, you had because that was another thing. So his grandpa didn't want them to have electricity. So here was the Setterington farm that didn't have electricity because his dad didn't want to see those electrical poles on his property.
Was he
Things like
like
that.
a
So they
5G
had to
sort of
burn
person or
wood.
something? Was he like a 5G sort of
Yeah,
person where he's like, it gives you cancer or something? I don't know.
something like that. I don't know what happened.
I don't know.
But because even my mom grew up on that farm, so there was the three generations on that farm, and she didn't
Hmm.
get electricity until she was like a senior in high school. It was
Wow.
amazing that they went that
You,
long. Yeah,
yeah. And I mean, I can't even believe it. Well, that couldn't have been good for their internet. No, I'm just kidding.
good point. Well, think about it. They couldn't even listen to radios. Back then
Yeah.
there's radios. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, we can't do that because, yeah.
Pretty sure they didn't have batteries
So
either, so they couldn't use the battery operated radio.
right, right. So I know it's like it's just interesting, like you say, the different things. Well, like you said too, because of the cold winters. I mean, and what you had to do to take care of the horses in the winter,
Oh
or the
God.
cattle. That you
Yeah.
don't stop to think about that. You're like, oh well, because nowadays they just have electric everything, and they got water pumped out to them. Oh no, not back then. They're carrying water.
I would
And
have
you're
been like
breaking
those.
ice.
I would have been like those horses got thick skin. They'll be fine. I'm not going out in the cold. Not doing it.
Yeah, I hear
But I
you.
guess you
But then
probably.
there's
I
the
guess.
one time.
I guess. Mhm.
Go ahead.
I guess they do need blankets and stuff, and you don't want them to freeze to death.
They
So I don't
do.
want people to write me too and be like, "You hate horses." No, I don't. Stop it.
Oh, good point. Good point.
Yeah,
Well,
good point.
and then the thing is too, the houses didn't have near the insulation nowadays. Because it even tells
That's
about how
right.
my grandpa lived upstairs and how there was snow
Mhm.
on his blanket. When he'd wake
Oh,
up and how
wow.
cold it was.
So what is
Because you
blanket?
only had, and there's only the one wood stove down in the dining room. That's the only
Wow.
one that heats the whole house. But didn't
I
really
would
heat
have.
the
I
whole
would have
house.
been
That was
curled up
just,
next to that stove. I put my feet on
oh
that
yeah.
thing.
Ooh,
That's what
yeah.
I
You
would have
wouldn't want to
done.
do that though. It's pretty hot.
Yeah, that's probably not a good idea. Wake up in the morning, your feet
True.
are melted to the thing there. But at
Yeah,
least you're warm.
that's
Your
true.
blankets might be
That
on
is true.
fire,
Well,
but
so now think about it too. How do you take a bath? It's freezing, and
oh yeah.
so you bring the tub into the. I mean, they had these weird tubs that they use to wash up with, or to wash clothes. I mean, and so that goes into some of that in the books too. Like I say, just different
Oh,
things like that.
wow. I'm just glad I was born in the modern age. Like I
I'm
lose
with
my shit.
you for
I lose my
sure.
shit if the internet goes down or electricity goes down to not run the internet. I'm like, this sucks. This is horrible.
Absolutely.
We're living in the olden times without internet. But really, I mean, it wasn't that. It was as bad as probably living in the olden times. So there you go.
Hmm.
But yeah, well, it's good. And do you have a big family? Did a lot of them get into the book and stuff?
Um, no, it's like I say, it's kind of interesting. They
Hmm.
thought I mean, they kind of did. One of my sisters, a couple of my sisters, maybe, but the others didn't. They're kind of like, okay, yeah, that was nice that mom wrote these. And they said, well, maybe someday we'll do something with it. But, you know, so then when I did that, well, it's kind of interesting because actually, when I'm the one who got it and had it published and that, they're like, oh, you didn't let any of us in on it so that we could give that to
Oh,
mom and use our
wow.
name. Oh, now you want credit for it,
Oh,
but
yeah.
yeah. Did
Yeah.
you do any of the work?
It's good
No,
work.
but you
Yeah.
want, uh,
Yeah. Well,
it's
when
like
we
I
read
say,
the
yeah,
book,
yeah,
I guess
pretty
they help write
much.
the stories technically, if you think about it, I guess.
Mhm. So yeah, so like I say, they really have no idea what really goes into getting a book published. You know, they
Hmm.
just all thought, I don't know if they thought it was going to be fun and games. It's like, no, it's work.
Yeah, it is a lot of work. I mean, it's not fun and games to publish a book. It's definitely work,
No,
that's
there's
for
a
sure.
like I say, this was a whole new thing because I'm a dental hygienist, so this was like way,
Oh, yeah.
way different from what I used to. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, it's been a fun journey. I'm glad I did it, um, and I've worked with great people helping me with this. So it's
Hmm.
been, like I say, it's been a challenge.
Yeah, dental hygienist, and now you're a book author. Well, congratulations there. I
No,
mean,
isn't
that's
it? Why, thank you.
yeah, that's quite that's quite the journey from there. Did you, when you're writing the book, were you like, where is the teeth? Are we going to talk about teeth in this book? Jimmy, Jane,
Oh,
and Alex's teeth in the book?
actually, actually, we do talk about teeth in the book
Oh,
because my yes, it's funny you said that because my let's see, he would be my great grandpa had all his teeth pulled, and so but he had this really long mustache to kind of cover up that he didn't have
oh,
teeth. Well, one day he shaved his mustache, and so the kids were like, "Who is that man?" They didn't recognize him.
your teeth, Grandpa. His wife is
So
like,
he
well, that
actually,
explains everything. I don't know what that means, but it
yeah.
sounded funny
Can
in
you
my head.
imagine? I mean,
Oh,
he was
yeah.
able to eat really well with no teeth. So,
I mean, as long as you
so
stick to
unlike today,
milkshakes, you're okay. Did they just not
well,
have
that's
teeth?
the
They
funny
probably
part.
didn't have teeth back then. Didn't Washington have wood teeth or something?
Well, the thing was, he probably could have got some dentures, but back then, yeah,
Yeah,
it was just
they
easier to
probably
pull them
did.
all and go without. But yeah,
Yeah.
think about chewing your steaks, like you said, milkshakes.
Jeez, that would like I you'd have to get one of the meat hammers, the tenderizer hammer,
Yes,
beat the
they
hell out of
did.
your
They did that a lot.
beat the hell out of your steak
Make
and
it
then eat it.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Or
So
think
we
it's
do.
eating your chicken off the bone. I guess you didn't do that either. You could peel it
Yeah.
off.
I mean, yeah, you swallow it and hope that it gets digested for something after a year.
Right, right.
Uh, that's crazy, man. Well, these are the fun times it had. Maybe more families should do this. Would you recommend that more families maybe do this journey where they try and put all this stuff down to paper and history of their family and stuff? It's kind of like
Oh yeah.
genealogy in a
Yes,
way.
exactly. And the nice thing about this is it's kind of like my mom had said, this really was the story of not just our family, but so many other families could relate to this. And I know that a lot of the people that have given me feedback, that's what they said. They go, oh my gosh, they could relate to the stories because their grandparents and parents went through the same thing. And
Well,
so that's what's nice about the books too. And
hmm.
it is kind of like I know my husband goes, man, I wish I would have asked my grandpa more stuff. Man, I wish I would have known more. And his kids are saying that same thing. They're like, gee, Dad, we need to ask you more things because of the way your life was versus how they're growing up.
Yeah. It'd be funny is if, I know some families, might be one of my own, have competing narratives of what really happened.
Oh,
Like my
yeah.
brother's got his
Yep.
version, and the rest of the family
That
has the
is true
version of
too.
what he was really like. And
Very true.
eh,
Very true.
you always
I've
get that
noticed
one
that with
kid.
my brother. Yeah, I've noticed that with my siblings. You're like,
Yeah,
I don't remember it quite that way.
yeah.
So
And why are you the only one who remembers it since you were the shit kid that caused all the problems?
there you go. Exactly.
That's that's the
Exactly.
weird part. Why do you always have the best revisionist history of what happened, and you were always innocent?
Mhm.
So there's always
Yeah,
that going on. That
that is true.
matters sometimes your parents are trying to convince you we weren't that bad, and you're like, no, we were there. But people are trying to do the best they can. I mean, that's what you have to
Yes.
do. You have to forgive your parents.
Hmm.
I mean, none of us, I think, are good parents. I've been a horrible dog parent to my dogs,
Well,
but
sure.
thankfully I only scarred a bunch of dogs rather than scarring small children. I was like, I know I'm fucked up. I'm not going to share it with my children. Most people are like, let's share our fucked up shit with our kids. Fuck them up too,
Yeah.
because sharing is caring, or not, something like that.
Hmm.
Anyway, I'm being funny, folks. Don't write me. So there you go. Anything more you want to have us know about you or find out more about you on the internet?
Well, I do have like Facebook. I have TikTok. I'm on those too. So if people get on those, like Instagram, I have those accounts too. So if they want to look it up, I say it's just kind of fun now because I kind of stopped the journey for a little bit just because of my situation at work. The dentist retired, and then now I'm at another office. But anyway, now that I'm settled in there and I got my set schedule, working 2 days a week, now I want to just get back into really promoting these books again. And actually, I would love to see it made into either a movie or a television series, because I look at it too. I look at like Little House on the Prairie, how well that went over, and this has just oodles of stories that would be along that line, or the Waltons. If I know how many people like those series.
Yeah.
Um,
I grew up on those
or
movies.
exactly, or like
Remember
even the
Jim
Anna
Boy,
Green Gables.
Jim Bob?
Yep, there you
They'd all
go.
say that
Yes,
goodnight at the end of the night. At the end of the show, they'd all say
there
goodnight to
you.
each other. It's kind of weird,
Yes, yep.
but it worked back
You know,
then.
ours it did, but even like I say, for some kind of a movies, there's what's her name, Jeanette Oak or Okie, I forget how she had the series, and I'm going. So each book could almost like be a different movie, uh,
Yeah.
something like that. And I think that would be just good because it's a good family thing. I mean, that was probably the one thing we tried to do is we didn't want like a lot of, well, we didn't do any swearing, I don't think. There might be some cussing, but we really wanted to make it family friendly so that,
That's important.
people, right, because people are really trying to get back to basics. I mean, yeah, there's some parts that, we maybe could have said something different, but to make it just so that it's the whole family can read it and enjoy it.
Yeah. So yeah, I think my family should write a book, and it should be all how we blame one person for being the shit kid in the family. We just out him, and it was him. So
Yeah.
whatever he tries to tell you he didn't do, he did it and worse. So yeah, I think that's
There
how
you
our
go.
family would roll on this one. But and then I can see how families would be like, "Well, I'm going to write a book that accuses you guys." It's like a finger pointing back and forth, endless book series. Maybe I don't know. Might be an adventurous story.
Hey.
Maybe they have all these apps now where you can interview your family and different kits that you can interview your family
Uh-huh.
and you can interview your parents and there's a lot of stuff you don't know
Mhm.
about your parents. How they grew up with their childhood,
Right.
what sort of
Right.
experience they had. They don't really tell you much because they're busy beating you and giving you chores to do and stuff. I mean, at least that was my childhood. I've
Oh,
asked my mom, like, tell me about your childhood. She's like, as soon as I get done whipping you with the belt. No, I'm just kidding. Just doing
yeah.
jokes, people.
Yeah.
Don't call CPS to my mom.
Well,
It's too late.
and that's the interesting thing, because back then, even in school, how the reprimanded the kids when they did something wrong. They could get the stick out and do that kind of thing. So yeah, when you look at how harsh things were, I remember even when he would get in trouble and his dad would, or his mom would go, well, go out to the tree and get a willow, and bring the stick in so I can beat you with it. I mean, really? We would not dare do that nowadays. You would definitely get in
Oh yeah.
trouble. But that was
I tell them
accepted back
two
then.
sticks. I can double beat them now. That's what I do with my kids. I'm kidding. This is just jokes, people.
There
We
you
do
go.
jokes. We do the comedies,
Yeah.
they call it. They're not funny, but they're jokes. So
Right. But I'd say even at school, there's the one, and I think it's when he's in the Mischief Maker, and it tells about him going to school. And this one teacher, yeah, she actually jumped the kid, and she had him down and she's kind of beating his head on the floor. I mean,
wow.
can you imagine? what
That's
would
a good
happen
time
today.
around here on the Chris Voss Show on Fridays. So we have a lot of fun.
There you go.
Anyway, it's been fun and wonderful to have you on the show. Give us the .coms as we go out so people can find you on the interwebs.
Because it's Ramona DGSBooks.com. And that's like say my webpage. So, and then you'll be able to find out the other information about the Instagram and the other things on that, and where to buy the books.
There you go. And you can find a link to it on the Chris Voss Show as well. Thank you very much for coming on.
Awesome.
We really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It has been fun.
And wonderful family stories. Hopefully, you've given some people an ideas on how to abuse their other family members from some of my suggestions.
Well,
You got to be nice.
Yeah.
I like your stories better, how everyone gets along and learns to work together and all that sort of good stuff. Mine would mostly be fisticuffs. So, fights of family and who did what to who and, stop touching me, that sort of thing.
Oh yes. But stop touching. Don't cross this line. Yeah.
Yeah. Title of my book would be like, don't make me stop this car and come back there. Like my dad would always say.
Oh, yes. Right? Yes. Heard that.
You'd be like, stop touching me. She's touching me. He's touching me. Stop touching me. He touched me first. Don't make me pull the car over and come back there and beat all of you. So there you go. Sure. Anyway, thank you very much for coming on the show. Thanks to our audience for tuning in. Order the book wherever fine books are sold. You can order the 4-book series on Amazon or wherever it's sold. The first book in the series is called Rate, out January 18th, 2023. Thanks to my audience for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, linkedin.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the TikTokity, and all those crazy places on the interwebs of the sky. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.